Council. Good evening, everybody. I hope you don't mind if I just turn it and I come back to the public. Firstly, can I just say that I was going to actually say what you said, Laura, with regard to the tone in the room. And I did notice that, Chairman, you made comments after certain members of the public spoke, but then other people who said things which were quite unjustified and quite nasty towards people outside of the meeting, quite rude and discourteous. You never said a thing. The fact that that person might be related to a councillor perhaps is part of it, but it's slightly worrying that you seem to be not consistent with how you deal with members of the public, and that is a point that needs to be changed. You have got to deal with the public, irrespective of what they say, as long as they're courteous and polite, which I think people are, in the same manner. You may not like other people who hold you to account, and in fact probably are able to watch what you're doing a little bit more than you can remember what you're saying, but you've got to treat people the same. Now, with regard to your address, you made comment about people being busy, having family lives, working. I think that the people, the chairman and the vice chairman from 2023 to now have been the most hard-working councillors I have seen in this hall representing Portishead Town Council. And Ben doesn't just chair the Portishead Town Council meeting. He was a volunteer in Portishead, seen at every event. He was a hard-working family member, father and husband. He also worked full-time, but you seem to be using it as if it was a bad thing. You know, you have your own business. I think, as someone's already commented, you're actually executive in North Somerset Council. So you go to lots of meetings. I often think, well, are you actually going to have time to represent the people of Portishead? And we've already seen some anomalies with regard to parking charges, which I have highlighted. You might not like me highlighting them, but I am free to do so. Now, we have had problems over the last 4 years, from 2019 to 2023, with public participation, which has been raised. It was an appalling 4 years, years that we have never seen in this council before. And not just in the council, on social media, it was appalling, to the extent that people sat at this meeting, fabricated information, and were found out about it, and they were held accountable. The same people often stand on social media saying, oh, you've got no right to raise concerns about the council if you don't attend meetings. You've got no right to talk about councillors unless you want to stand as a councillor yourself. No, that's not true. When you put yourself forward as councillors, you put yourself forward to represent the public, not your party, not yourself, but the town. And I have only seen Ben Aldridge and Paul Churchill putting this town first. I cannot say the same about other people. And we don't need to mention names. I think most people know who I'm speaking about. So it's really important that you recognise that and you try to address that problem, which is what Laura has actually asked you to do. And what was interesting is when we were coming on to the resignations, I saw councillors nodding their heads, and I know some were doing it genuinely, but sadly I know that some weren't. And so saying the right things when we're in a public space is not necessarily enough. You've got to do the right things all the way through. And from 2023, when Ben and Paul became chairman and vice chairman, there was a lovely air of safety when residents came to meetings. They felt as if they were being listened to. Ben and Paul were selfless in their delivery of what they needed to do for Portishead Town Council and for our town. They worked hard, they were committed, they were fair, they were open, they were honest, and they were transparent. And if they made a mistake or felt something needed to be done differently, they acknowledged that. And I can't say the same about others. And let's remember, this council is controlled by the Portishead Independent Political Party. And you yourself, Chairman, keep telling everybody you're independent. You need to start by taking a lesson out of Ben Aldridge's book and realise that you need to be honest at all times as you, in your position as Chairman. Because we know you're not independent. If you wanted to stand as a true independent, you could have been done. Every single one of you
Annette,
could
sorry,
have
we're starting to stray here.
Okay,
I'll
wind up.
Into
I'm just
items
trying
which
to
aren't really for this
emphasise.
council.
Well, I'm trying to emphasise.
But you can come to me
No,
and you can throw all these allegations at me directly.
I don't feel that that would be a safe space.
But we're here for the
Let
council
me finish.
today.
Let me finish. You talked about political things, and this is opinion. You gave your opinion, and the public are here to give theirs. And you talked about people coming here and you don't like them talking about political things. I can remember pre-2019, people that are part of your party stood in that public gallery laying into the previous administration, actually aggressively laying into them to say how bad it was all working.
We are again straying
Okay.
out of
I'm
the
just
realms
trying to
of
make
what
the
this,
point. You can't have
what
it.
this meeting is
You,
for.
you cannot have it always. You cannot say you don't want politics, but then your party members engaged in that. But I will round up. I would like to say thank you to Ben Aldridge and Paul Churchill, and I feel I could get quite close to tears. I feel that, as Paul Mortby said, this is a dark day for our council, because I happen to know what has gone on, and those people the rest of the town will find out in due course. Knowing that those two councillors worked so hard, and one in particular walked away from the political party he was elected under back in February because of the treatment he was engaged in, I think says a really bad thing about Portishead. And it upsets me that something like that can go on in my hometown, in the Portishead Town Council, unseen by members of the public, unseen by the people who are asking questions online. That is not acceptable and is not satisfactory. And as Paul Mortby said in his address, anyone who's sat here tonight and anyone who's taken the positions of two good councillors, you should hang your heads in shame. And while you are Town Council Chairman, I will never attend another Town Council meeting. Thank you, Ben and Paul. You have been excellent advocates for Portishead. Your unfailing work cannot be questioned in any way. And when you leave the meeting tonight, you leave with your head high, knowing you were completely blameless. And that if you'd had your chance and you would, your wish had been granted, you would have still stayed on, and we would have had you as Vice Chairman and Chairman for another year, and hopefully remaining in the Town Council for another 4 years. Your loss will be felt by Portishead for a long time to come. And sadly, I don't think your calibre of councillor is here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Annette.